Hey everyone, Shaunak Patwardhan here. Welcome back to another tutorial from Cauneaus Arts. After a very long time, I know it's been like 5 to 6 months since I created my last tutorial, but I was kind of occupied with a lot of stuff and I was traveling for most of this period and I just could not get down to making more of these. But anyway, I'm back and I will be a lot more regular from now on. I promise. In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to create a glitch logo in After Effects without using any external footage or anything. We will create the glitch footage in this tutorial itself. If you're interested, I already have another tutorial on my channel which shows you how to create glitchy backgrounds in more detail, so you can check that one out too. I'll leave a link to that tutorial in the description of this video as well. And coming back to this one, there are a lot of cool effects that you can use to make your glitches look cool and complex and sci-fi and all that stuff. We're gonna start from some of the basics and build up the intro to look a lot more detailed and cool. Alright, so let's go. Alright, once you're in After Effects, go to Composition, New Comp, Full HD, 30 FPS is good. I'm gonna rename this as Logo Comp, since I plan to import my logo. Go to File, Import, File. I'm just gonna import the Cauneaus Arts logo here and drag it down to this. If you press S on your keyboard, you can open the scale property of this layer. So I'm gonna increase it a little bit. I think 130 is good. And I'm gonna check this continuous rasterize button here, just so that there's no pixelation or blurring on the edges. Okay, go to Composition, New Composition. This is going to be the first element of our tutorial. We can call this dotted grid. Okay, and go to Layer, New, Solid, Black Solid's fine, press OK. Then go to Effect, Generate, Grid. Now change this corner point to Width slider and the width to 7. Then click on Inverted Grid. Now if you see this on full resolution, you'll notice that this is like a dotted pattern. This is exactly what I want. So I'm just gonna leave this comp as it is right now, and I'm gonna drag this composition to a new comp and also drag the logo comp to the dotted grid comp, and I'm gonna toggle these switches and modes and change this to alpha matte. This is our first element. I'm gonna rename this comp to dotted grid static. Okay, now drag the logo comp to another composition. Let's rename this to logo outline. Select the logo comp and go to Effect, Stylize, Find Edges. Click on Invert so that you only see the edges. And now I don't really want, if you check the transparency, I don't really want this black portion in the middle. So I'm gonna go to Effect, Keying, Linear Color Key. And I'm gonna pick the black and remove the black. If you toggle the transparency now, you get your logo outlines. And then I don't really want this to be colored either, so go to Effect, Generate, and Fill, and I'm gonna change this to white. Go to Composition, New Comp, press OK. Go to Solids. I'm just gonna drag this black solid down. Go to Effect, Noise and Grain, Fractal Noise. I'm gonna change a few of these properties. Go to Block, Noise Type will be Block. Now we're gonna create a lumomat. This is a layer which creates a transparency map from the luminescence values of an image or the black and white values of an image. We need this layer to create an interesting entry animation that we're going to use to create the elements that build up the logo intro. I'm going to animate the brightness. At the start of the timeline, I need the brightness to be absolutely low, like this should be completely black. I think minus 350 should do it. Add a keyframe over there. And around 4 seconds, I need this to be completely white. Just enough. Okay, 320, 340 should do it. Just to be on the safer side, I'm gonna go a little bit higher. Then open up transform, scale. I'm gonna drag this to the middle somewhere so that I can see it properly. Complexity, I'm gonna change this to 1. And the scale will be 250. Then go to the evolution and alt click to give it an expression. And I'm just gonna animate this with a time expression. Time into 1000 should be good. Let's preview this. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna rename this comp 1 to block mat comp. Alright, so these two static comps, dotted grid static, drag it down to a new comp and drag the block mat comp also in this and change this to a luma mat. Now if you preview this, it'll look something like this. It's giving a nice in animation to the elements that we have created earlier. I'm gonna do the same thing with the outline comp. Drag it to new composition, add the block mat comp and change the track mat to luma mat. By the way, if you don't see these options, just press the F4 key to toggle between the two modes, or you can do the same from here, from this button here. Toggle switches or modes. Alright, so we're gonna rename these to logo outline in, dotted grid in, just to keep them in the same family and for later purposes. Now if you check my preview, I have this grungy distorted line action going on there. Kind of makes the whole thing look a little more busy and creates a little less negative space, so let's create those next. Okay, so create a new composition. Let's call these distorted lines. Press OK. Drag the solid back to the new comp and then go to Effect, Transition, Venetian Blinds. Change the transition completion to around 50%. You won't be able to see anything here because the transparency toggle is off. If you turn that on, you'll see the transition happening. The direction, keep the direction as it is right now. And then I'm gonna mask it out. Go to the rectangle tool and just mask a small portion of this, a very small portion of this. Then open up the mask properties and uncheck this link, and I'm gonna give this a little bit of feather here. Now I need this line to move up and down to get the look of a broken screen, and to do that it should move randomly in just the y-axis. And to do that we're going to use the good old wiggle expression, but with a twist. We are going to lock the wiggle only to the y-axis. The x-axis will not be affected by the expression. Open up with square brackets and then type in value. And in another square bracket type 0. This is actually the first value, which is the x value. X, y and z are generally referred to as value 0, value 1 and value 2. Now since we don't have a 3D layer, this is going to be value 0 and value 1. value 0 comma, so this is the x value, then go to then type in wiggle, 10 500, and then since we have to specify that this is the second value, which is value 1 or y value, so we have to specify it in another square bracket, value 1, end the expression and end with a semicolon, which is always a good habit. Press enter. If you preview this, you will notice that it is now moving only in the y-axis. Okay, I'm gonna give this another expression to the opacity. Press T to open up the opacity and alt click, and this will have a regular wiggle expression. Again 10 50 semicolon. Drag in another black solid. I keep reusing the same solid just to keep the project at its minimum, because sometimes it can get very confusing what solid has been used where, and I like to keep my projects organized. Since this is a tutorial, I'm not organizing these layers, but otherwise these are extremely organized in some of my other projects. Okay, so let's go to Effect, Noise and Grain, Fractal Noise. Change the contrast a little bit. Yeah, this is good. Brightness. Actually, I'm gonna leave the brightness where it was, approximately. Then go to Transform, and I'm gonna scale this up a little bit. And about that. And I'm gonna give the evolution another expression, time multiplied by 3000. Let's rename these layers since it's getting a bit confusing. Okay, and once this is done, I'm gonna change this track matte to a Luma matte. Now let's give this now go to layer, new adjustment layer, and since I need these to be slightly colored, I'm going to go give it a tint effect. I'm gonna change this black to a little bit of a teal color, slightly desaturated teal color. Yeah, something like that is good. Press OK, and the edges on this are a little bit hard, so I'm gonna give this a fast blur. It's too much. I think 5 should be good. And after that, I'm gonna give this a noise. 30%. If we preview this, it looks something like this. Alright, so we have created the elements that we need, so now let's go for the fun part. Let's create the glitch background. Go to Composition, New Comp, press OK, drag the black solid down. I'm gonna rename this to Glitch BG since this is going to be used as a background. Give it another fractal noise. Change this to block, change the noise type to block, contrast to 600, brightness can go down a little bit. Open up transform and switch off uniform scaling. This will be 4800 and the height will be 600. Now go to sub settings, and we're gonna give these values of some expressions. Change the sub influence, can go down a little bit. I think that should be good. maybe further down. Yeah, that is good. Now subscaling, we will give it a wiggle expression again. We are going to use a lot of wiggle expression in this tutorial because having these random values really changes things, and we don't have to manually animate these things. So, you know, wiggle expression to the rescue. Starting to look something like this. Give a wiggle expression to the evolution as well. Sorry, let's give a time expression to the evolution. Time into 300. Yeah, cool. And I'm also going to give the random seed an expression. Time into maybe 10. Okay, so this is what our background looks like now. I'm gonna pre-compose this layer and move all attributes to the new composition, and let's call this Displacement Call. Okay, so moving on to creating the glitch background, drag another instance of black solid and another fractal, noise and grain, fractal noise. Change this to block again, and the contrast can go up a little bit. That should be good. Brightness can be around -60. Transform, uniform scaling is fine. Scale, I'll just take this a little bit up. And evolution, again, time into 1000. Duplicate this layer so that we don't have to do those things again, and change the contrast to maybe, I think that's good, 860, 850 should be good. The brightness can go further down a little bit. Uniform scaling is fine again, and I'm gonna increase the scale quite a bit. Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna turn down the complexity. Maybe 4 is good. Go to the subsettings and change this. Dial this up a little bit. The evolution, I'm gonna change this value a little bit. I think 800 should be good. And now select this layer and give this a Luma matte. So now it looks something like this. Add another black solid and rename this to displacement. Go to effect, distort, displacement map, and turn off this displacement comp layer. We don't really need it, and change the displacement map layer in the displacement solid to displacement comp, this lower layer. Oh, by the way, you have to change this to an adjustment layer for it to work. Not that it makes a difference here, but I'm going to use luminance as the horizontal displacement. Now for horizontal displacement, I'm going to give this another wiggle expression. Alright, go to the project window, and this glitch BG comp, I'm gonna drag this to another new composition. Also drag in the logo comp to this, and let's rename this to logo distortion comp. Okay, so this is the comp where I'm going to use this BG to distort this logo with the help of a displacement map. So drag this adjustment layer down and change this to an adjustment layer. Turn off this glitch BG because we don't really need this in this comp, and go to effect, distort, displacement map. Change this to the glitch BG that we've created. I'm gonna change this to luminance. I'm gonna remove the vertical displacement, 0. Don't really need it, not my style. Now if you preview this, the logo is getting distorted quite a bit. If you increase this, it will be distorted even further. Alright, so if we preview this, we'll see, I'm gonna change this to 100. And while it looks cool, I don't really want the logo to keep distorting the whole time. So I'm gonna cut this layer. If you press Alt and the left square bracket button, you can cut this layer on the left hand side, and Alt and the right square bracket button, you can cut the layer on the right as well. So now these glitches, I can change the duration of these layers. I can move these layers a little bit and maybe change the kind of glitches that are happening overall so that it doesn't keep glitching the whole time. Okay, I'm gonna give this another effect, drag in another adjustment layer, and I'm gonna call this mosaic. Change this to an adjustment layer, go to effect, stylize, mosaic, and the horizontal blocks, I'm gonna give this another wiggle expression. 10 and 10 would be good. Yeah, and I don't really need this to be on the whole time either, so I'm gonna layer this as well on top of the other distortion that we have created slightly. And let's change this color to make some other color so that we know what we've done. Okay, so this is our logo distortion comp. Drag this comp to another new comp. There's a lot of pre-comping in this tutorial. Now let's create the color split effect. Rename this layer to red and duplicate it a couple of times. This will be green and this will be a blue. I'm gonna drag the green and blue below the red. Okay, so now we need to change the colors of these three layers to red, green and blue. Go to effect, generate, fill. This is the lowermost layer actually, and copy this fill to all the layers. Now red can remain red, green will become green, so change this R to 0 and green to 255. And same with blue, go here and change the red to 0 and blue to 255. Alright, so switch on all the layers and toggle this and change all of these to screen. It becomes white. Yeah. Alright. Go to the position property of the red. Now we're gonna give this a wiggle expression, but now again I don't really want the red layer to move up and down. I want it to be locked to the x-axis. So we're gonna give this another wiggle expression which is specific to the x-axis. So open square brackets, wiggle, 10, 30, and if you remember, I specified that x is 0 and y is 1. The first value is 0 and the second value is 1, and we have just input the value. So this will be 0, comma, value. This is the y value. This will be 1. Close the expression, semicolon, press enter. In the final part of this tutorial, we're going to bring it all together and add some more effects that will make our logo intro look really finished and good to go. Okay, so moving on, drag the color split composition to a new composition, and I'm gonna call this main comp. Finally, main comp. Okay, I'm also going to drag the glitch BG down and have an adjustment layer, which also should be an adjustment layer first, and it should have, go to distort, displacement map, and change this to glitch BG. Turn off the glitch BG, we don't really need it. And I'm gonna break this adjustment layer. And now I'm gonna also bring the logo comp under this, because eventually we need to have the logo in its place, and the logo outline in, and the dotted grid in. Okay, so now none of these layers except for the logo comp, I'm gonna change this to a different color, maybe dark green is good. Except for the logo comp, none of these layers are going to be on the whole time. We're gonna layer this out. So I'm gonna break all of these layers a little bit, and I'm gonna just arrange these layers randomly. Change these modes to add. Okay, so at about the 6th second, I want the logo to be shown. And to do that, I want it to glitch real hard before that happens. Gonna give this a little more variation. Some of it can be white. And I can even scale this a little bit to give it even further more variation. I'm gonna go to the logo distortion comp and copy this mosaic and paste it here. I want this effect to happen here as well. Duplicate it and let's have it happen right before the logo forms. Now the background is looking a little bit empty, so I'm gonna go to the glitch BG comp that we've created earlier, and I'm gonna lay this on top of everything else and give it a tritone effect. And I'm gonna, for this example, I'm gonna change the midtones to green and the highlights to blue. So we have a BG that is glitching as well. Now it's a bit too strong, so I'm gonna change the opacity to 40%. Change the blend mode to add. Let's give this a background as well. Drag the black solid down and give it a gradient ramp. Just gonna move these a little bit and change this to a radial ramp and pick the black. I don't want it to be completely black. Change this to a slightly gray color. This is good. Glitch looks like. Now let's preview this a little bit. Maybe reduce the mosaic because it's a strong effect. I'm gonna bring this logo distortion comp in as well so that we have the logo on at all times. Add another adjustment layer to this. Change this to an adjustment layer and let's give it a wave warp effect. Change this to square and the direction 0 and the width can be fairly small. Height can be, yeah, 6 is good. And I'm gonna break this layer as well. Add it in random places. And add a bit of variation to this wave warp. Want it to look the same the whole time, so basically it's a lot of layering of stuff on top of each other. That kind of makes it look cool. Also for these displacement maps. Let's change these values. Break this layer maybe. Change the values quite a bit. Don't want it to be looking similar to each other at all. Okay. And then I can even further change this. Maybe give it a glow. Just offset it a little bit. Okay, so after the 6 second, I don't really want the BG to show either, so that's gone. Now I need a way to transition from this glitchy part to the logo reveal. I'm gonna add another black solid to this. Cut it again. Change this to an adjustment layer too. Go to Effect, Generate, Lens Flare. I'm gonna drag this slightly to the sides of it. And change this to a 105mm prime. Try it out. Change this layer to Add and pick colors from the logo again. This will be green. And I'm gonna animate the brightness of this flare, so this will be very bright, almost like a flash. Change this to 0 and 0. So flashes before the logo reveal happens. I'm gonna duplicate this and change the lens flare to a blue flare. I don't want them to flash at the same time, so maybe a bit of a difference in their timings. Yeah, that's cool. And for this last glitch, I'm gonna animate the horizontal displacement so that it kind of eases in, and the vertical displacement will be 0, so it should kind of ease in as it happens. And at the very end of this now, let's duplicate this flare again and maybe change the center slightly. And have the mosaic affect the logo once after the transition. Let's add another adjustment layer on the very top of everything. Change this to an adjustment layer and let's give it a noise effect. Change this to 30. Let's animate this and bring the noise down. And at the very end, we'll also add the grungy lines that we created earlier in the tutorial. Now, I would have worked a bit more on cleaning it up and making it look good. This is just one example of what you guys can create with all of these effects. You can change any setting from any part of this tutorial and create something entirely new and exclusive to your logo. I'll preview this and show you the final render. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope it was fun for you and you learned plenty of different things that you can use inside of After Effects to create grungy, distorted logo intros. If you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to me here on YouTube, or like this video, or like the Cauneaus Arts page on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. Links in the description of the video. Until the next time, Cauneaus over and out.